Hey folks, I'm just going to show a quick video on how to use heat shrink tubing. Use a bit, it's something you use. A lot of times people will use electrical tape, which is okay if you want to connect two wires, but heat shrink tubing certainly is a better option. It's a cleaner option, and it's going to last a lot longer. So just a quick video. I was doing this anyway, and I thought I would just capture it and show people how to use it. Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to use heat shrink tubing. When you have to lengthen wires or connect two wires together, it's a better way to do it. The reason I'm doing it today is I have this multi-cade that I'm building for a friend, and I have an amp here. It's a BTL out amplifier. I'll put a link into it where I got it. Anyway, so I've got the amp here, and I'm going to mount it probably on the side, inside of the multi-cade, so people can reach it from the front pretty easily to adjust the volume and bass and treble if they want. The only problem is the speakers that I got are a little, the wire they came with is a little short. I didn't realize it until I put it in, so they only go down about here, and it's going to be a stretch to get in there, so I'm going to lengthen them a little bit. So what you need to do then is you just need some other wire. I've got 22 gauge wire, which will work fine for these speakers, and so you need some solder and a soldering iron, which I'm going to turn on now. So while that's warming up, I'm going to go ahead and do this for the speakers. So the first thing I'm going to do is just give myself a little more wire at the end to work with. So with my wire strippers there, just strip off some wire. Okay, so that's stripped off, and then I'm going to make one black and one red, because you want to differentiate the positive and the negative here on this. So I'm just going to have the black be the negative, and red be the positive. So I'll probably want, I don't know, I can always tie it up if I get too much, but maybe the width of the cab or something like that should be enough, more than enough. Black. So I'll snip that off, and then give myself some clean wire to work with. On the other end, I'll just strip off a little less, because I don't need that much. And then I'll put these together. Now, when you put them together with shrink tubing, you want to make sure to add the shrink tubing beforehand. And so shrink tubing, all it is like a thermoplastic that when you heat it up, it shrinks, and it'll shrink around the wire, and it's better than electrical tape or something that somebody may use. So cut a piece of that off. Right, it comes in a big roll. Right, and then I'll go and insert it over the wire, put the wire through there. There we go. So you do that first, and then you can take one of these, and for these, one has a little black stripe on it, or blue stripe. I'm going to use that one for the black, and I'm just going to put the wires together and then wrap them around pretty good, like this, and kind of like a straight line like that. Now that's not going to hold unless I solder it. So I'm going to solder that those two wires together. Pretty straightforward. So my soldering iron's already heated up to 580. I'm just going to get some solder on my tip of my iron, and then take it across this, back and forth. Now I'm doing this one-handed. I mean, ideally you touch the wire, heat it up, and touch the solder to it, but this will work just fine. And one thing that I like to do is when I'm doing this, I'll run the iron over the top side of the wire, but then I'll go over the bottom as well, because the solder flows towards the heat. So I'll heat the top side of the wire, and you can kind of cut it. You can see it tinned there, and then I'll heat the bottom side too, and that'll pull all the solder through the wire where they're connected. So now that's cooled down, and that's a strong joint. That's not going to go anywhere. So the whole point of the heat shrink tubing is you slide it over where you just soldered, and then you can heat it up. And the easiest way to do this, let me spread that out a little bit. So take it to about the middle. The easiest way to do this is with a lighter, which I think I have a lighter in my pocket here. I just had a lighter. Hold 1 second, I'm going to get a lighter. So that's my dog. She's getting ready to go to bed for the night, but she's not quite ready. She's squeezing her ball, so you may hear her in the background. Alright, so this is soldered together. I've got the heat shrink tubing on there, and I'll slide it to where it's over top the joint, and then just a regular lighter. This happens to be a Bic, but a regular lighter, and then you just take it back and forth underneath. You don't need to hold it in one spot, just back and forth. Kind of wave it back and forth underneath. And what it does is it shrinks up around the tubing, and it's around the wire, and it's already shrunk up. You can see it's shrunk really good around there, and it keeps a nice it won't get snagged on anything. So if you had black tape around here, the black tape can get snagged by another wire, so now this just looks cleaner. And that's the best way to do it. I mean, I guess the best way to do it would be to rewire the whole speaker, just all the way up to the top, but I've already got the speaker in the cab and everything, and I'm not going to do that. So this is perfectly fine. It extends that out, which I need, and that's basically how you do it. I'm going to do it 3 more times to give myself the rest of the wiring, but I'll do that off camera. So anyway, this is how you do the shrink tubing.